Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful day today and I hope you're ready for what we're going to read today. In today's episode we're going to read some AITA hole, some malicious compliance, and also I feel like checking out the stories about Kevin subreddit too. Enjoy guys. Am I the gay hole for what I said? My family won't let me share any good news because of my sister's disability. I, 26 female, have an older sister, 32 female, who had a tragic accident 3 years ago that left her paralysed from the waist down. It's been rough for everybody, but especially for her. Our family rallied around her, helping out as much as we can, and I've been there every step of the way because I love her so much. But since the accident, it feels like I don't deserve to have any good things happen to me, or at least I'm not allowed to talk about them. Every time something positive happens in my life, I get shut down by my family. When I got a promotion at work last year, I was so happy and I was so excited to tell them. I thought my family would be happy for me, but when I tried to share the news, my mum pulled me aside and told me not now because my sister had a tough day, so I ended up keeping it to myself. 8 months ago, my boyfriend proposed. When I told them, my mum immediately changed the subject after telling me that my sister was feeling down about her own marriage struggles. It's like anything good in my life is an offense to my sister's situation. Yeah, that's not fair, OP. Oh, that sucks. This one happened a few days ago. I've been saving up for years to buy my first new car. I finally was able to do it and I was so excited. I thought my family would be happy for me, so I decided to tell them. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, the room went dead silent. My mum whispered to me, "This isn't the time, think about your sister." My sister looked so sad and I instantly felt like the worst person in the world. Nah, this is so wrong, OP. You're definitely not the a-hole. They can still celebrate good stuff that happens to you. I just couldn't handle it anymore and I said, "Can't I share anything good in my life? I thought you'd all be happy for me." No one knew what to say and I left the house. I've never done that before. Now I'm filled with regret and confusion. I love my sister and I never want to hurt her, but it feels like I'm not allowed to have anything good happen to me. It's getting to the point where I feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time. I understand that my sister's life has changed drastically and I'm genuinely supportive and I always have been there for her, but sometimes I want to be able to share my own life too. I feel so guilty for even feeling this way, like I'm being selfish or inconsiderate. Her husband and even my parents share things about their lives pretty freely and nobody seems to mind, but as the younger sister, I'm not allowed to share anything good in front of her, so I don't hurt her feelings. Yeah, that's not fair, OP. I get it, I really do. I understand that she's going through a lot and I don't want to add to her pain, but it feels like I'm not allowed to have any joy in my life around my family. Now, I know I owe my sister an apology for how I reacted. I never want to make her feel sad, but I'm struggling with how to approach my family. I don't feel like I should apologize to them, and to be honest, I don't think I'll be sharing anything with them in the future. Yeah, and fair enough too, OP. Why would you want to share anything with them if that's how they're going to react? I also feel like your sister doesn't care. It sounds like your mum's just being ridiculous. I don't feel like your sister would even mind that much. Like, the only stuff you've said, OP, is that your mum is telling you not to say stuff. You've never actually said that your sister actually got upset about anything that you've said. It's probably mainly just your mum. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole at all, but I'm curious, how does your sister feel about all of this? Is she genuinely hurt whenever you share these positive things? Or is your mum just being overprotective and jumping the gun? Has there always been this kind of dynamic between you and your sister, to a lesser extent before this? It just seems incredibly weird that you're the only person in the family who's not allowed to share good news. Yeah, and that's right. Obviously, your sister doesn't care when other people share good news. And OP responded and said, "My sister never says anything. It's always my mum who jumps in to tell me off, followed by reasons why. My sister did look sad when I told them about my new car, but she didn't say anything. Whenever I try to discuss things with my sister, my parents tell me to not, saying that it might complicate things and I might end up hurting her feelings even more." Oh yeah, for sure. They're just being overprotective. Has there always been this kind of dynamic between you and your sister to a lesser extent? She's always been the confident one, saying whatever she wants whenever she feels like it. I've had to work on myself over the years to start expressing myself better, but things have gotten worse since the accident. Now I can't say anything. Yeah, and the comment under that one too, she might have looked sad because she's tired of your mother doing this. Either way, you're entitled to have a life and celebrate when things go well. It doesn't sound like you're rubbing it in her face or anything. Not the a-hole. Yeah, I feel like you need to talk to your sister, OP, and be like, "Hey, does this sort of stuff bother you when I bring it up?" And if your sister says no, then go to your parents and say, "Hey, my sister doesn't care, okay?" Yeah, this comment too, not the a-hole, and you owe nobody an apology for living and celebrating the good things in your life. Info, is it only your parents who don't want you sharing these things? Or is it also your sister? Is your sister even aware that your parents have asked you to silence yourself when good things happen? Hey, mum and dad always tell me not to let you know about anything good that happens to me, like my promotion at work, or when my boyfriend proposed, or when I got a new car, because they think these things might upset you. I wanted to ask you directly though, are you okay hearing about things that happen to me? Or do you find them upsetting? If your sister says that she doesn't mind or indeed indeed that she wants to hear about these things in your life, then you should 100% ignore your parents when they tell you to remain silent. If your sister agrees with your parents and says that she doesn't want to hear about your successes, then you should honor that request, but you should also start spending way less time with your family. Yeah, definitely. That's such a good comment. I feel like you really need to talk to your sister about it, OP. But no, you're not the a-hole for what you said. And also, congratulations on all of that stuff that you mentioned. You should be able to share stuff like that and be celebrated. Okay, the next one is labeled as the a-hole, and it's called, am I the a-hole for putting both my obese and skinny twins on a diet? I have 2 children, 14-year-old identical twins, Megan and Alana. Both are 5 foot. Megan weighs over 150 pounds while Alana weighs around 95. They used to be the same weight until they were about 7, when Megan started getting chubby but still a healthy weight. When she was 11, Megan was considered medically overweight. I went to a doctor for advice and she said that I shouldn't worry too much since a lot of kids gain weight right before puberty and then balance out after their growth spurt. The twins had their growth spurt last year and Megan's weight loss has only increased since then to the point where she's actually obese. So I decided to implement a healthy diet for the entire family. I slowly started to cut back on sugar, junk food and unhealthy snacks. I cooked them high volume, low calorie meals full of vegetables and protein so that they still feel full after eating. Neither of the twins are very athletic, so I've also tried encouraging them to engage in physical activities like swimming and bike riding or trampolining. I tried putting emphasis on staying healthy instead of losing weight. However, Alana guessed the real reason for this new diet is because I want Megan to lose weight. She started complaining that it's not fair that she also has to diet because her sister's fat. I told her that I didn't want Megan to feel singled out and feel as though she's the only one being punished about her weight. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I've gone to multiple doctors and neither of the twins have medical conditions that would influence their weight. Well, yeah, that's a pretty a-holey last sentence that you said, where you said, I told her that I didn't want Megan to feel singled out and feel as though she's the only one that's being punished for her weight. Like, nobody here should be being punished because of their weight, OP. It doesn't seem like you have the right reasons behind it. The top comment says you're the a-hole for how you defended yourself. Healthy choices are healthy choices, and nutritious food is good, exercise is good, finding ways to use their bodies that are fun is good. You've almost committed to this idea that health is valuable for everybody and isn't a punishment, but then you don't seem to really believe it. This we're pretending to do this so that my fat kid doesn't figure out that we secretly just want a skinny kid thing that you pull at the end there. I think you need to figure out your own relationship with health a little bit before trying to do a family overhaul. Your teen saw that you were pretending because you are, but why are you pretending? Why is vegetables and going outside not something that your teen daughter could believe that you really value? There was a teenage boy who went blind because he'd been living off French fries and potato chips for years. Nobody checked in with him because he was thin, so it was assumed that he was healthy. It made the news, and you acknowledge that your thin daughter doesn't eat vegetables or exercise either, so she's also not healthy. She's just thin. Thin and healthy aren't the same. If you're trying to trick your daughter into being thin by pretending to value health, then you're only going to foster an unhealthy relationship with food and her body. The more that you lie, the more confused and messed up she'll get. Yeah, 1,000,000%. And yeah, being thin and being healthy are definitely not the same. And of course, OP, there's nothing wrong with introducing more healthy food into the house and doing more exercise as a family. But yeah, you definitely shouldn't view it as a punishment and putting all the emphasis on your daughter being thin because I guess you feel like being thin equals being healthy, which yeah, that's not right. And also another part of it that confused me is it a diet or is it healthy eating? Like, is it something that you're going to do for a while and then stop doing it? Or is it more of like a healthy lifestyle sort of change? Because I feel like it should definitely be the second one. And yeah, I don't understand how that's a punishment either. Like, that should be a good thing, shouldn't it? Like, it shouldn't be like a restrictive diet where you're never allowed to eat chocolate or never allowed to eat stuff like that. Stuff like that's super complicated. Like, you don't want to make it so you're not eating anything that you want to eat where you do feel like you're punishing yourself, because that's only going to backfire later. You need to integrate all the stuff that you want to eat and make more of like a healthy lifestyle choice. It's a hard one though. Are you the a-hole? I don't know. I feel like you have the right idea, but it doesn't really feel like your intentions behind it are right, or it doesn't really seem like the way that you're viewing it is right. It seems like you do view it as like a punishing sort of diet, which also makes me think that the entire family isn't healthy, because the second you started talking about eating healthy, your daughter picked up on it immediately, so it mustn't have been something that you normally do. Yeah, I don't know. This one's a hard one. I do feel bad for Megan though. There's a comment here that says, yeah, you're the a-hole for your approach, and you're the a-hole for not helping them be more active sooner. You can remedy this now if you apologize for your error and you require them to do an activity that they enjoy a few times a week, like yoga or dance or weightlifting or whatever, or team sports, either with the town YMCA or the school. I wish I'd done this as a kid. It would have helped me a lot. Instead, my lazy parents didn't bother. I see now that teaching them to be active is a huge part of raising healthy kids, especially in this screen-focused age. You are the parent and you can require them to move and be honest about why. If they get no exercise, they're both unhealthy. Skinny fat is still not not good. I've got my own issues around stuff like this and issues about like perception of weight and like feeling bad because I have been overweight in the past. And I feel like growing up, I was surrounded by this attitude of like all that matters is that you're skinny, and this huge unhealthy emphasis on like being thin and stuff, which I know body image issues are super common. I was always an overweight kid. I definitely did get teased about it and stuff, but it wasn't too bad. But there was definitely like this attitude that it was not okay to be like that, and that really does suck. And I do feel for Megan because it sort of sounded like I heard a bit of that in what the mum said, like this sort of attitude that, you know, this is not okay and we need to punish you with a diet and stuff because the way that you are now isn't okay. And yeah, I don't feel like that's a healthy approach. The entire family being more healthy, yeah, okay, but like don't punish your daughter. Whoa, okay, the next one. Am I the a-hole for throwing away my best friend's mum's ashes? I know it sounds horrible, but hear me out. So I, 27 female, have a best friend, 28 female, who recently lost her mum. She has been going through it pretty bad, which I understand. It's hard losing a loved one. She lost her father years ago, but this was a kick in the gut. She was super close with her mum. Because of this, she's been going into depression. I've been going to her house at least twice a week to help her out with all kinds of stuff. I've been helping her clean and cook for her, and I am happy to do it. I want to help my best friend get through this difficult time. But one day ago, I went over to help her clean again. I don't mind the cleaning, and it has been hard for her to get up and do it. I was cleaning up and throwing out the old takeout bags and Walmart bags that were left over from deliveries. I found a Walmart bag that had something else in it in a plastic bag. It turned out to be her mother's ashes, but I didn't know that at the time. I brought it to her and I asked her what it was and if she wanted it. She flipped over in her bed, looked at the bag briefly and said, "I think it's trash that I started picking up the other day. You can dump it. Just check it first to make sure." Well, I did when I was in the kitchen and she seemed so sure, so I tossed it and brought the trash out that afternoon. This afternoon, I got a call from my friend. She was frantic. She wanted to know where her mum's ashes were. I told her I didn't know and I hadn't seen them. She then explained that they were in a Walmart bag in the kitchen. She left them there because she didn't want to look at them. Well, after a while, we put the pieces together and realized that I'd thrown them out. Even worse, the dump truck had already collected the trash that day. There was no getting them back. My friend started yelling and hurling insults at me. I tried to explain that I checked it and I even asked her about it. She didn't care and told me that she no longer wanted to see me. I'm devastated. I didn't mean to throw away her mother's ashes. Her mother was a lot like a mother to me as well, especially since my mum was never around when I grew up. I would never purposefully throw something so important out. Am I the butt face? Should I be feeling this guilty? Should I try to make it up with my friend? What can I do? Edit, for those of you wondering how it came to be in a plastic bag, I'm not totally sure, so I'm just guessing from what I gleaned off the bad phone call. I tried asking when she called. All I could really get was something like she dropped and damaged the box and poked a hole in the bag of ashes, so I'm guessing that she grabbed a bag that she had on hand to prevent losing any. Before this incident, she told me how she had an urn ordered and was ready to receive the ashes. I think she planned on keeping it in whatever they sent until she could get the urn, but I guess when she had to transfer them to the bag, it was too much. Wow, that's so wild, OP. But it was a complete accident on your part, OP. So, like, no, you're not the a-hole, and of course you didn't mean to do that. The top comment says, "I think not the a-hole." She knew that her mother's ashes were in a Walmart bag. You didn't. You asked what it was and she said trash. She should have realized. Yeah, that's so unbelievable because it's an honest mistake, but a horrifying honest mistake. Like, what an awful situation to be in. The second top comment says, "Call the dump and explain what happened. They may be able to help you get them back." Landfills often do keep track of what loads get put where and when, just in case it turns out a body got put in a dumpster or something similar. Yeah, I don't understand how that sort of stuff works, but yeah, maybe it is worth a shot. That's so wild though. That's so unfortunate. So like she put it in the Walmart bag because she didn't want to look at it. I'm pretty sure that's what they meant. And they were going to put them into the urn when the urn arrived. Oh god, yeah, that's awful, OP. But yeah, it's not really your fault, is it? Okay, after reading that post, I feel like that's a good place to read the stories about Kevin post. I am going to read some more Am I the Gay Hole later on in the episode. College Kavina hellbent on self-inflicted organ damage. I'd like to preface this by saying that this memory comes from a place of baffled concern that I would like others to share in because the story is just tragicomic. So like sad but also amusing. But I'm not on other forms of social media and I can't check up on this person. My first year of college, there was a girl in my friend group who sometimes did things that suggested that she wasn't very bright, but she also engaged in some pretty attention-seeking behavior. No shade, people do have a need for attention, and it's not the worst thing in the world to be 18 or 19 years old and not know how to meet that need appropriately yet, so it wasn't clear whether acting dumb for attention ended and real indicators of intelligence begun. Stuff like cutting her bangs with sharp point scissors directed towards her face, repeatedly confusing buildings on campus well into sophomore year, insisting that she didn't need to wear shoes, yes, outside, inside, all day long because college doesn't have a dress code, asking if a BLT always has bacon, saying that somebody should rewrite the older books that we were assigned with up-to-date normal language so they'd be easier to understand understand, strengthening reading comprehension. We don't know her, insisting that narwhals and reindeer are fictional. But towards the end of the second semester, we had an exchange that suggested that all of this had been entirely sincere. Kafina was always taking Tums, Advil, and Pepto-Bismol, almost always, to the point that she'd carry a bottle of Pepto-Bismol around campus sometimes, swigging from it like it was a beverage. I couldn't help but notice it. The pills were noticeable because of the larger size available bottles rattling loud, and she'd often casually ask if anybody else wanted one, like they were gum or something, and the sound of her loudly crunching away on Tums was distracting before I got used to it. I suggested a couple of times that she might want to go to student health if she didn't feel well so much of the time, but she brushed it off, which is fine, of course, her body. But I became alarmed when I realized that she never drank water. Oh, come on. Her own words, never, because quote unquote, it's gross. Why? It doesn't taste like anything. Okay, but there are non-water options besides mainlining Mountain Dew, like almost a full 2-liter bottle every day, sometimes Pepsi or coffee to mix it up. I realized what was happening and I made one last bid for her to see a doctor. I waited until she was in a good mood. Nobody else in the common room really engaged with us, and she got out the meds. Hey, Kafina, do you have a headache again? Her. Yeah. Me. Do you always have a headache? That's why you take Advil multiple times a day? Her. Yup. Me. Is it there when you wake up in the morning? And how much Advil do you take on most days? Her. Oh yeah, but don't worry, I'm not hungover. It's been happening forever, and I don't know, maybe like 10 or 12? Whoa, okay. Me. Cool. The thing is that Advil is really, really hard on your stomach. I'm sure that's why you get stomach aches all the time. You're not supposed to have more than 8 in a day, or any number every day. It can also damage your liver if you take too much over time, especially if you also drink sometimes. Her. I only drink on the weekends. Me. Yeah, of course, I'm not saying that you have a drinking problem, or you drink every day. I didn't mean that at all, I promise. Just that you could damage your liver by taking Advil a lot over time, especially if also drinking alcohol sometimes. Her. Well, I'm not just gonna have a headache, and then starts laughing. Me. No, of course not. I don't want you to. But the thing is, I think you might be chronically dehydrated and overdosing on caffeine. I know you've said that you never drink any water because you hate the taste, and Mountain Dew is your favorite drink, plus coffee and Pepsi. Have you considered trying those flavored water drop things, or some sparkling water if you really like the bubbles? Her. No, I like soda better. Me. Yeah, right, but it could be giving you headaches, and your brain really needs water to work well, because it's mainly water. Plus, too much caffeine over time can also damage your heart. So I'm worried about the health of your brain and your heart and your stomach and your liver. You shouldn't have to have a headache and a stomach ache every day. You deserve to feel good. Her. I'm okay. I've got it figured out. Me. Would you please go see a doctor at Student Health? It's free. Or at least Google some of the stuff that I said. I swear I'm not exaggerating. It's all on WebMD and Healthline and Mayo Clinic, and it's super easy to find. I totally get why you might not believe me. I get it. It's only that you should really check it out one way or another. I'm not gonna lie, I am worried about you for real. Her. Oh, it's okay. You're so nice. Really, but it's cool. I'll be fine. Me. Do you not believe me? Her. No, you're good. I know your daddy's a doctor and you might do pre-med and everything. Me. So why not do something about it? Her. I don't know. I'm healthy. It's just not a big deal. I'll be fine, really, so don't worry. I pretty much had to give up at that point because I knew that pushing it would be weird and uncomfortable for both of us if it wouldn't cause outright drama. And I went from wondering if all the dumb, silly thing was an act to worrying that none of it was. I'd done my best. That was 12 years ago, and God knows how she's doing. Last I heard, she didn't graduate. Wow, that's so unbelievable and really concerning. Nah, I don't like water. I'm gonna drink Pepsi and Mountain Dew and taking 8 Advil every day. God, I hope she's okay. That's so wild and also terrifying. Like, oh nah, I'll be okay. Yeah, but like you probably won't. Okay, we're heading back to Am I the Gay Hole for the next one. Am I the Gay Hole for refusing to let my family move in because my 16-year-old son doesn't want them to? About 5 years ago, my husband cheated on me and then abandoned our family. It was an incredibly difficult time. I was left alone to raise our son, who was just 11 at the time. None of my family members offered any help or support. We were essentially on our own. The only person who helped us was my father, who was a great support system both emotionally and also financially. When my father passed away 2 years ago, he left me a significant inheritance. This money allowed me to buy a house and provide a stable and comfortable life for my son and me. Since my husband left, my son and I have become very close. We've been through a lot together and our bond is incredibly strong. I'd do anything for him. Recently, some of my extended family members have fallen on hard times and they've asked if they could move in with us. Given our history, I was initially hesitant. I discussed it with my son and he was very much against the idea. He remembers how nobody was there for us when we needed them most and feels strongly that they shouldn't benefit from our home now. Understanding his feelings and valuing his comfort, I decided to tell my family that they couldn't move in with us. Now they're upset and accusing me of being selfish and ungrateful. They say that I owe them support because we're family. I don't think I'm an a-hole and I honestly don't care what they think as long as my baby is happy, but I still want to hear other people's opinions. So So am I the a-hole for refusing to let my family move in because my son doesn't want them to? Especially considering the way they treated us when we were the ones that were in need? No, of course you're not the a-hole, OP. And obviously it's not just your son who doesn't want them there. It sounds like you feel the same. And yeah, you're totally right. They didn't help you ever. Why should you help them now? And now that they're being super rude about it, definitely don't help. The top comment says, make it awkward. Send a group text or a chat and tell them that you'll give them the exact same level of support as you got when your husband cheated and took off and you were left raising a child on your own. Simple as that. And they'll either get the message and leave you alone or start pandering on with excuses. If they start with excuses, I'd go even more petty and use the same excuses back at them. Oh, well, we didn't know it was so hard for you and we're past that now. You, I didn't know it was so hard for you. And well, you've already lost your house, so we're past that now. It's hilarious that they all come out of the woodwork now that you've got money. Idiots, all of them. I'd mess with them so badly just because they sound like absolute awful people. Not the a-hole though, by a long shot. I will add though, whatever you do not tell them that it was your son who influenced your decision. He doesn't need the flying monkeys to start attacking him. And while it is admirable that you sought out his opinion, because it's his home too, make sure you don't throw him under the bus even by accident, especially with these people. They'll go for him if they think it was his fault that they don't get to exploit you. Yeah, for sure, you're not the a-hole, OP. The next one that we're going to read is on the malicious compliance subreddit. I've really missed this subreddit. You want me to clear the dead grass or I'll be fined? I'll clean exactly my property. I'm on mobile, I'm a non-English speaker, and I'm not in the US. This story started in 2017, was repeated every year until this year, and I've promised my father-in-law to repeat the compliance if it does happen again. My in-laws used to live just outside of town. They moved this past fall to my mother-in-law's home island, and we moved in their place. And when I say just outside, I mean about 2 meters outside of the city plan. To be exact, the city plan reached up to the middle of the dirt road that separated their property with the neighbouring property. So back in spring of 2017, my in-laws received a letter from the city council about cleaning their property from dead grass in preparation for summer due to fire hazards, or they'd be fined. The letter and the deadline, end of May, were normal. What wasn't normal was the area that was named. It was their property, the property next to them, inside city limits, and the road in between. My father-in-law took the letter to the council and explained that the property next to him didn't belong to him, and he couldn't clean it. They appeared to accept it, but something was nagging him. Now, my father-in-law had worked in exactly 2 companies in his life, both handling big government contracts, and his main job was to take care of red tape and government bureaucracy. So he found the exact law that said that the owner was responsible for their property, and that the city was responsible for any roads and any properties inside city limits that an owner couldn't be found. He had also found, through his connections, that the local council was under investigation for misappropriation of funds, including the funds for cleaning lots that were considered fire hazards. The tactic they were using was to include lots that fell under their responsibility to nearby owners, and either intimidate with the fear of a fine to clean them, or fine them and then pocket the money. My father-in-law decided to become creative. First, he gathered all the plans related to his property and the ones next to him. Next, he cleared his property. He was planning to do that anyway, but only that. He cleared the part of the road that fell outside city limits, and then he waited. The deadline passed, and about 10 days after, a hefty fine arrived. My father-in-law challenged officially. The council tried to enforce the fine. My father-in-law challenged again, presenting his evidence on an open forum of the council. The council insisted they were in the right, and if my father-in-law didn't pay, they'd take legal action. My father-in-law agreed happy to the legal action. This led to a court appointing an outside inspector to check the property, the city plans, and the work that my father-in-law had done. The council not only lost the case and had to pay legal fees, but were forced to an outside audit that led to a couple of councilmen facing criminal charges. Every year since then, my father-in-law used to clean his property and exactly up to the middle of the road next to him. That duty has been passed down to me now, which I fulfilled this year. That's so awesome. What a win. Yeah, like this comment says, clean the property or else. Thank you. I'll take the or else. Yeah, that's so awesome, and it felt good to read that after the other stuff that we've read today. Okay, we're going to end the episode on an Am I the A-hole post. Am I the A-hole for not forgiving my dad for what he said? My dad, 45 male, is really into cars. His dad, my grandpa, is also into cars. My grandpa used to work in a mechanic shop, and my dad learned to work on cars with him. They can talk for hours about different car models and engines and tell stories about cars that they've worked on. I, 17 male, am not really into them. My dad tried to get me into fixing up cars with him, but it just didn't click with me. I know basic stuff like how to change a tire or oil or how to jumpstart a battery because he taught me, and I am glad for that. But talking about cars and working on them for fun, I'm just not into that. I always thought that my dad was okay with me not being a car guy. 5 months ago, we got these new neighbors that moved next door. It's a married couple, and their nephew Mason, 16 male, lives with them. Mason and I go to school together. At first, I helped show him around the school until he got comfortable and made his own friends. He and I do still talk, but we don't hang out. Mason is like my dad and grandpa. He's obsessed with talking about cars and has a whole list of cars that he wants to drive and own one day. He'd come over with his aunt and uncle, and a lot of times Mason and his uncle would hang out with my dad in the garage. Sometimes I'd be there too, but usually just just them. My dad works on his project car in the garage every other weekend for a couple of hours. For Father's Day this year, he said he wanted to be able to work on his car all day uninterrupted, which my mum agreed to. Whenever he works on his car, he leaves the garage door open. Mason has been coming by when my dad works on it for the past couple of months, and he talks to my dad and sometimes helps him out with smaller stuff related to the car. I don't really care, my dad does other stuff with me. But on Sunday, I went to go ask him something when he was in the garage with Mason. The door from the house to the garage was open, and I could hear him and Mason talking. I was waiting by the door for a chance to speak because I didn't want to interrupt their conversation. My dad was praising Mason for whatever he did. Mason said that he'd done that with his dad, and my dad told Mason that his dad would be proud of him. Then he said that Mason is the kind of son that he wanted to have. Oh God. I don't know why, but that really hurt to hear, because that's really hurtful to hear, OP. That's bloody awful. I never thought that me not being into cars was an issue for my dad. I knew that he did still love me, but I guess it's not enough. I didn't say anything and I just went back to my room. Oh, OP, you're not the one that's in the wrong, your dad is. Just because you're not into cars doesn't mean he should say stuff like that. How awful. He doesn't know that I know what he said. I've been ignoring him since. I still answer him when he asks me questions or tells me to do something, but I just don't want to talk to him anymore. Him and my mum, 43 female, have asked me if something's wrong, but I lie and I say no. I thought they'd let it go, but a few days ago I messed up and I told my older sister, 19 female, what happened, because she kept on asking me, and now she's not talking to my dad either, and she's being a lot meaner to him about it, but I made her promise not to tell anybody the reason, so she is keeping her word. It's really tense in our house at the moment. My parents keep on asking us why we're mad at our dad, but neither of us are answering, and I don't know, I feel like maybe I should just let it go and go back to the way that things were. I really don't want to though when my dad is disappointed in who I am. Am I the a-hole if I don't forgive my dad? No, of course you're not the a-hole, OP, that sucks. Yeah, the top comment, Dad, I get that you're disappointed that I'm not into cars like you and Grandpa. It's just not my thing, but I do appreciate how you taught me the basics. But when I went to the garage to see you on Father's Day, I heard you tell Mason that he was the kind of son that you wanted or wished you had. Do you have any idea how hurtful that is? On Father's Day, I got to hear my dad tell somebody else that they were the type of kid that he wanted. So yeah, I'm hurt. You said it so casually, and also on Father's Day. Yeah, you're not the a-hole, OP. Yeah, and also, like, get to know your son. Do something that your son enjoys. Don't resent your son because they don't like cars. This is completely on your dad, OP. This is not your fault. Yeah, and also this comment. You need to tell your parents what you overheard and get it out in the open. Your mum needs to be aware and your dad needs to explain himself. Yeah, for sure. I'm so sorry about that, OP. That's so sad. But yeah, you're for sure not the a-hole, OP. And on that note, we need to read something wholesome. That was such a fun episode and I hope you guys enjoyed. My life is boring and repetitive. I must change something. Me after changing the route home and buying soda from a store that I've never been in. Yeah, like the title says, some days it really is that simple. But yeah, 100% it feels good to switch stuff up. Necromancer, we're losing the war and morale is low. Lend me your army of zombies so I may crush. What are you doing? I thought you raised the dead. I'm raising your spirits. Oh, that's so cute. That one's by Inky Rickshaw. So cute. Oh yeah, the Buddy Gator ones. Wow, I love ice cream. Can I bring my own cone? Sure you can, Stuart. Oh, that's so cute. And a beautiful place to end today's episode. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time today. And if you did, make sure you let me know down below in the comment section and also subscribe if you want to. And the comment of the day today once again goes to Spider Gamer. Day 17 of telling the Vincey fam god-awful jokes that I've heard on the internet. Why do some couples go to the gym together? Because they want their relationship to work out? Wow, I love these god-awful jokes. I know I didn't laugh, but like it definitely is funny. I love the jokes in the comment section. Thank you for that. And yeah, guys, I hope you had a good time today. Let me know in the comment section if you're having a good day or if you did have a good day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!